first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, thank you for joining us. We are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We cover a wide range of topics on this show. We're talking about something coming up now that's been a tradition in the Willamette Valley for a long time. We're going to talk about how long during this segment, but I'm referencing the St. Paul Rodeo in St. Paul, Oregon. It's coming up again on July 2nd through 6th. They've just announced new people being inducted into their Hall of Fame. The St. Paul Rodeo itself was inducted into a Hall of Fame. We're going to cover that as well. And to do so, joining us right now, we have, let me pull them up right here. We have Cody McKillop, who is the director, and Grant McKillop, who is a past president for the St. Paul Rodeo. Gentlemen, thank you, for joining us here today to talk about this. I'll say just from the outset, I've been to the St. Paul Rodeo many times myself. It is something that's just really a big tradition for the Willamette Valley and the St. Paul area. But to that extent, I referenced the history of it. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about the history of it. And I was wondering, how long has this been going on there in St. Paul?
Well, it started in 1935 and hasn't missed a beat. Still going today. So we're, just keep racking up the years, getting closer to that century mark.
Yeah, it really is. Since 1935, going all that time in there. And, looking back at the history of it, you mentioned it, you just keep racking up the years. How much has really changed with the rodeo during that time?
You want to touch on that?
Well, I wasn't here in 1935, but it wasn't too much long afterwards when I popped in. But they started in a little town called Broadacres. It wasn't a town, it's just a farm community. Is where they originated, and then they moved it to St. Paul sometime, I guess, in the next 5 to 6 years, and it's been there ever since. Anyway, to me, it hasn't changed all that much, other than the number of people that are showing up. Last year, we sold out all 6 performances, which brought 60,000 people to the event.
60,000 people into a pretty small town, too.
Yeah, a town of 375, give or take. Depends what end of town you come in on the count. It's a little different on one end than it is on the other. But anyway, I was president, let's see, probably 7 or 8 years ago, and now my brother Sam is standing as president, and I retired off of the board 2 years ago. I had been there 24 years.
Well, Grant, let me talk about that. You being president there for as long as you were, and obviously family involved in the community there in St. Paul. For you being a part of this for so long, so much of your life, what does this rodeo actually mean for that St. Paul community, for the people that live there and are involved in it?
Oh, monetarily wise, lot of donations that we make to from the church to the high school to the kids, the sports programs, and more. It's just been a benefit to the whole town for a long time.
Yeah, it's not just the biggest thing in this town. It's one of the biggest events in the surrounding areas, and we currently are giving back more than $60,000 annually to communities, not just in St. Paul, but neighboring communities. So it's a big fundraiser for not just, all the groups, youth, schools, sport teams, any kind of rodeo or Western lifestyle clubs, but then also it's a big moneymaker for local businesses in the area too.
Yeah, to support 60,000 people coming in, that's a lot of work, but also a lot of opportunity, I would imagine, for everybody to get involved.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it takes all hands on deck, and it's not uncommon, for the 5-day event to see the same faces working all 6 performances in 5 days, and the setup and teardown that happens before and after.
Yeah, I mean that's so much that goes into that. Might touch on that here again too in a little bit. I did want to talk about an announcement that St. Paul had, and since it is such a tradition for so long, that you have a Hall of Fame where with inductees, and I know there were, I believe, 6 new inductees into the St. Paul Rodeo Hall of Fame. What does it take for someone to get into the St. Paul Rodeo Hall of Fame? What do they go through for that?
Well, there's a long list, of qualified people that could go in. Traditionally, since we've had our Hall of Fame for not quite 30 years, but getting close to it, we generally try to put in, obviously, a contestant, contract personnel, our members, just good qualified candidates that who's most deserving. And it gets hard to pick the ones because you have so many deserving ones. But yeah, this year, it was Luke Branquino's going in as a contestant, and there's no one more deserving as a contestant than he is. And then you get into our members. Well, we got so many of those as well. It's hard to pick the ones, but the committee that decides did a great job, and they're going to have another tough decision next year too to pick who to go for next year.
Yeah, I can only imagine, with that many people over that amount of time. And, you have your Hall of Fame, but also the St. Paul Rodeo itself is in a Hall of Fame. And can you tell us, what it meant for the St. Paul Rodeo in particular to be recognized like that by the rodeo community as a whole?
You want to go for it?
No.
Oh, it was a big, huge deal. It was something we knew would or should happen. It just, you never know when. They don't put a lot of rodeos in the PRCA Hall of Fame. And, the fact that there's over 700 rodeos going annually in the PRCA, and ones that have not necessarily been around as long as us, but there's a lot of them that have been just about as long. And we just had to wait our turn. And when we got the news, it was a celebration to everybody involved because it was something that was deserving. And when we finally got our turn and got accepted, it meant the world to people, whether they are generations deep in it or new to it. We loved it, and it was a really good pat on the back for what everyone's started here and what we're continuing to do today.
And yeah, recognizing that, of how big of a deal that is for that, for what you put on there, but also, with the rest of that rodeo community as well. And it's, to that extent, the event is, as it says right there, July 2nd through 6th coming up here this year. And a lot of things go on. For people who haven't been at the St. Paul Rodeo before, can you give just a basic description of what they can expect when they walk into those grounds?
Well, you get to come to a small town that's close to anywhere in the Portland or Salem area, and you get to experience the Western lifestyle. You get a great atmosphere, good crowds, great hospitality, a great rodeo performance that gets done in a timely manner. There's fun for people of all ages. We got a carnival for kids. We got a new trading post vendors tent for mainly women if they want to come shop. We got that, and we got cold beer everywhere you could need it.
Yeah, not to mention the best contestants are the highest ranked contestants in the world. They show up because of the money added per event. We're at there's $36,000 put up for each event that gets split up among the top 8 contestants in each event. Yeah, help me.
Yeah, and I think it's actually like 38.5 this year.
Yeah.
So we're a big rodeo. I mean, as far as money, we're in the top 12 or 15 of all rodeos in the country. So
yeah, and there's like 600 rodeos that go on that are sanctioned for the PRCA.
And St. Paul's there in the top 12.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's it's very impressive. Um, I think looking at it for this year and for that event for people coming down. One thing I did want to ask, you probably saw the video from the Sisters Rodeo of the bull getting out. What just to ask, since I'm talking to people who run rodeos right now, what actually goes into that as far as preventing something like that from happening?
Well, you got to have a good facility, and Sisters does have that. There was nothing they did wrong. It's just when they're determined, they can do it, and that's one thing you got to understand when you're attending an event like this. Things like that can happen. We certainly don't want that to happen, but you got to be prepared for it and have take the right steps. Um, but yeah, it just takes a good facility, and that, a lot of that's trusting your stock contractors, making sure that they're bringing the right livestock, that because we know of animals that can be known to do that, and they need to leave those ones home.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're unique too as far as individual personality. So I'm sure there's some that's maybe wouldn't fit in there. Well, I just had to ask that question because talking to you guys. But I think the final thing, just that I would ask what you would want to share with anybody out there who's going to be coming down to the event or is maybe interested in it and has never been to it before. What would you want them to know?
Well, we figure that we put on one of the best rodeos there are, and it's a great time. You're going to come enjoy yourself. You don't got to do anything other than just sit back and enjoy a great Wild West performance right here in the heart of the Willamette Valley, and you don't got to go very far to do it.
Well, Cody and Grant, thank you very much for joining me here on Fox 12 Now to talk about this. And, congratulations on keeping it going. As you mentioned, heading towards that 100th anniversary here, not that far away, about 10 years away, but still going strong. And as something right there that's close for everybody to go check out and enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me here on Fox 12 Now.
You bet. Thanks, Greg, for having us.
You bet. And for everybody watching, again, this is Fox 12 Now. If it's the first time, we live stream here every weekday throughout the afternoon here in the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. So we cover a wide range of topics. And if there's breaking news, we also have that. So this is a place to go to outside of our other newscasts. Between 1 and 4 p.m., I'll be here with that should something like that happen. But otherwise, you can check out all of our segments on the Fox 12 Oregon app or at kptv.com. And you can watch all of our interviews and the conversations that we get to have here. But thank you for joining us. I'll sign off for right now. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is